host for this evening. I am also the president of OneCoin, which is probably the most exciting business I've ever seen in my lifetime and probably ever will. And I'm sure many of you will agree with that. And especially, hopefully, by the end of my presentation this evening, you'll be more informed and realize there is really nothing out there to touch OneCoin. Just before I came online this evening, I checked our website. Here we are in pre-launch. We started at the end of August, so September, October, November, so nearly 3 months into it, around 3 months, and we have 8,539 members already in pre-launch, and we haven't even started the mining yet, which starts in January, but I'm going to come to that in a second. So without further ado, let me get on with our presentation this evening. As I say, it's very exciting to see members on tonight from Norway, Finland, Sweden, Russia, and some other countries. So very, very exciting time. We just actually had our first webinar, corporate webinar in Mandarin Chinese earlier this evening. So, and tomorrow night we have a Swedish webinar, and I know each week we're having Finnish webinars now. So the leadership around the world is starting to step up to the plate and really show the world what we have with OneCoin in all the different languages. Very, very exciting. So let me tell you a little bit about this. I've been involved in this industry since 1985, so you could call me a veteran of the industry. I started out as a distributor with a company called Herbalife in 1985, 29 years ago. And that's really where I learned the fundamentals of network marketing. From there, I went on to build some large organizations with other companies, and I'll come to my bio in a minute. But here's the point. What I'm trying to say here is that I am president of OneCoin. I'm not the owner of OneCoin, I'm the president. And the reason I'm the president is because I've been in your shoes. I've been building organizations. I'm able to do exactly what you do. So I have a thorough understanding of the network. And when I'm presented with a business opportunity, as you are, no doubt, by other people all the time, because that's the nature of the industry, I ask them serious questions. You know, many people jump into one opportunity after another based upon, you know, getting excited and feeling some passion for something. Now that's great. You have to get excited, but in fact, you also need to keep your head screwed on and ask some serious questions so you don't make some mistakes. And these are the kinds of questions that I ask when I look at an opportunity to decide whether it's worth my time and my reputation and money, etc., to get involved. Number one, I ask, what is it? What is OneCoin? And by the way, I'm going to be answering these questions for you this evening. So hopefully you'll be able to go away from this evening's call really very clear in your head about exactly the important and salient issues about this business. I also want to know who's behind it, who's running it, what's their expertise, what's their background, what's their experience. Is it legal? I want to know that I'm not going to get into trouble for promoting it. Is it real? Now there's a question. You know, there are many businesses out that sound great until you ask the really hard question, which is, can I sell this product or service or whatever you're promoting to members who are not part of the network? You know, there are many opportunities out there that sound really good until you realize that it's not something that you could actually show to your neighbor or sell to someone across the street. It has to be something, and that's really one of the things that makes it real. You know, is there an outlet for it outside of the network? How do I make money? What kind of business model is it? You'll see from one gives you your cash flow and your income, and the other gives you phenomenal capital growth. Now, most opportunities can give you one, but not both. I also want to know, is it simple? Is it something I can do? If I can't do it or it's not simple, it becomes hard to replicate. And replication is the name of the game in networking. My strategy is the next question I come up with. What do I want to get out of it in the short term, like in the next 3 months? And say, what about the next 1 to 2 years? And more importantly, my exit. And exit is a financial term. It basically means, how do I get my money out? Again, sadly, I see all too many people getting involved in things that look good on paper or on the internet, on money games or whatever, and they seem to think that they're making a lot of money until they realize when it comes to withdraw the cash, they actually can't spend it. So, you know, if you can't take the money out and spend it, it's really worth nothing. So what is OneCoin? Well, it's a new type of cryptocurrency. Now, a cryptocurrency is a digitally created currency based upon advanced mathematical algorithms. To put that in simple layman's terms, it's a formula or a puzzle. And it's a formula or a puzzle, a mathematical puzzle that has a fixed number of solutions or outcomes. And I'll come to that in a second. It's based upon a concept pioneered by Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the very first cryptocurrency and the one most people are familiar with. A couple of years ago, most people had never even heard of Bitcoin, but it's been in the news a lot because, as you'll see in a second, people made absolute fortunes with it over the last couple of years. But we're not like Bitcoin, by the way. We are not a Bitcoin copycat or clone. As you'll see very shortly, we are actually a far better solution. And, we had an opportunity to evaluate Bitcoin and see how we can do it better. But we're going to use Bitcoin as a frame of reference for you this evening. OneCoin is not a pre-mined currency. In other words, we're not in the coin selling business. We didn't go out and create a lot of currency and coins, and we're not in the business of selling it to you. We are actually a business in which we are giving you, our members or our miners, the opportunity to create the market and mine the coins. Therefore, you keep all the profits. Nobody owns the coins except the people who mine them. OneCoin will be traded on a public exchange. Again, there's another acid test. Can you sell it to the outside world? If the answer is yes, you have a real product. This is not a money game which only circulates money amongst members. We're not in that. That's not what we do. We are a legal, ethical business, the end product to the wider public. And we actually have a highly lucrative yet very simple and very fair compensation plan. I've been in the industry a long time. I've worked with many companies as a distributor, as a consultant, and also in top and senior management. And really, we have one of the fairest and simplest compensation plans I've ever seen, without a lot of the catches that you see in many companies. I'll come to that in a second. Let me explain in really simple terms what a cryptocurrency is, because it took me a while to get my head around it. I'll be honest with you, I've been in the industry a long time, and I've sold skincare, I've sold nutritional supplements, I've been involved in selling jewelry, perfume. Well, I didn't know what cryptocurrency was. That was a new word to me about 4 months ago. So, I've been on a learning curve, but now I understand it. I'm very, very excited. So what is a cryptocurrency? Well, it's a digitally created currency created using very strict mathematical principles. It uses an algorithm or a formula to create a fixed or finite number of solutions or outcomes. So it's like a puzzle with a fixed number of solutions. And it's because it's fixed that makes it A, legal, and B, gives it value. Whereas in most money games, they can just make as many of the fake coins or units or tokens as they want. Therefore, it has no real value. So OneCoin's algorithm can produce exactly 2.1 billion coins. Bitcoin, by the way, by contrast, was able to produce or is able to produce 21 million coins using their algorithm. Now, I'm going to show you what I mean by that in really simple terms. And you look at the example here. Let's suppose I wanted to create a new cryptocurrency, and I say, I only want to create 3 coins, a fixed number of coins. How could I do that? Well, I come up with a puzzle that asks the question, how do I make 5, the number 5? And then the computer's to look at the numbers and the puzzle and come up with possible solutions. And then one solution it comes up with is 3 plus 2. And it ticks the box and says correct, and I'm rewarded with a coin. Another solution is 4 plus 1, also equals 5. I'm rewarded with second coin. And lastly, 5 plus 0 also equals 5. So I'm rewarded with my third coin. So to answer that particular algorithm, so to speak, or puzzle, there are only exactly 3 solutions, 3 plus 2, 4 plus 1, 5 plus 0, which yield 3 coins. So you can imagine what an algorithm is like that yields 2.1 billion solutions or coins, but that's the principle. So Bitcoin, let's talk about this very briefly. Bitcoin was the very first, and as you can see here in January 2009, it started mining what's known as the Genesis block. The first coins were being created or found by computers solving the algorithm or puzzle. And they started selling these on the open market or trading them for 10 cents. This is in US dollars. Nothing much happened with it for nearly 2 years because, really no one knew about it except a few computer nerds. But really you can see here the first jump in value happened in May 2011, less than 2.5 years later, when it rose from 10 cents to 35 US dollars. That's a 350-fold increase in value. Now, I don't know anything that can grow 350 times in value in 2.5 years. Not property, not gold, not stocks and shares, nothing. That's why cryptocurrency is really the darling of Wall Street and the investment community right now, because they see it as the future. However, it didn't stop there. As you can see, just over a year ago, it rose to over $1,200 per coin. Now, obviously, when you see here a huge, sudden, steep rise, because that's due to a lot of frenzy and speculation, when something rises that quickly, it often falls. So right now, Bitcoin is somewhere in the region of the $400 to $500 mark per coin, but it's still a phenomenal success story. Out of their 21 million coins that their algorithm is able to find or create, they've mined so far about half of them, and you'll see in a second why that is important. So regardless, most people who bought Bitcoin early on will have made an absolute fortune. The only ones who won't will have been those who bought at the top of the market, but that's the same in any business where there's some speculation. Now let's look at this. Just to give you an idea how a cryptocurrency functions. Because it's based upon strict mathematical principles, what happens is, as start to solve the puzzles and find solutions to, and therefore find coins, it gets successively harder to find the rest of the coins or solutions. So the mining difficulty increases. Now, as mining difficulty increases, what that means is you need more and more powerful computers, you need more and more electricity, and so on and so forth. So therefore, the cost of mining increases, and therefore, of course, the value of the commodity you're mining also goes up. So it's almost a mathematical inevitability that the value of a cryptocurrency will increase over time, providing you have people who keep mining it and so on. And of course, because it's a fixed quantity of coins that can be produced, well, just think of the laws of supply and demand. Something that is, if supply is fixed or supply is limited, but demand is increasing, then the value must increase also. This gives you a graphical picture of what Bitcoin mining was like when it started 2009, nearly 6 years ago. In fact, that computer looks a bit older than 6 years, but here's the principle. The point is this. Things have changed. 6 years ago, you could mine 1 Bitcoin in 1 hour on 1 laptop, just like I'm talking to you from tonight. However, because they found half the coins, because it's getting harder and harder and therefore more expensive and difficult to mine, it's now taking, people actually need to mine, they can't do it singly using a computer, they need to join mining pools which are using huge server farms, as you can see here, to mine the coins. It's now taking huge amounts of mathematical computations and resources, electricity, everything, just to mine a single coin. And in fact, it's now taking 25 days to get a single coin using this kind of setup. If you're a Bitcoin investor, it's probably taking you a year and a half to become profitable. Therefore, in my opinion, it's no longer the most exciting investment. It's already over. It's already had its best days, and really you need to be looking at something like OneCoin. We will be putting mining pools from the beginning, by the way, but it's a very different model, and you're going to be able to cash in on the early mining, low difficulty and low price, but we'll come to that in a second. Here's a true story. The first recorded offline Bitcoin transaction happened when a man wanted to buy a pizza. Well, I guess he was probably a computer programmer, because they tend to live a lot on pizza and and cola, I think. So he sent out for pizza, and he paid with 10,000 bitcoins. Today, this would be worth somewhere in the region of $5 to $7 million. The moral of the story, in my opinion, is this: do not sell your coins too soon. Wait for the market to rise. I'm sure he's regretting that decision to spend 10,000 bitcoins on a regular pizza. So why is OneCoin better than Bitcoin? As I said to you earlier, we are not a Bitcoin clone. We're not a copycat of Bitcoin. They were the first cryptocurrency, but we're actually doing it a lot better. There's a lot to be said sometimes for coming after the market leader, so you can look at what they've done and see how you can improve on their product or their formula. So for example, number one, we have a more advanced and more secure algorithm. It's much more sophisticated algorithm. And again, think about this. That was 6 years ago when their algorithm was designed, and many companies have simply copied their algorithm to try and do the same thing. We've come out with a completely different algorithm 6 years later. And really, technology moves on a lot in 6 years. I mean, just look at where you are now. Would you rather have an iPhone 6 or a 6-year-old Motorola or Nokia phone? I think the answer is obvious. The technology moves very, very fast now. We've come a long way in 6 years. The smaller denomination is really important because we actually can produce 2.1 billion coins as opposed to 21 million. It makes the coin more usable as a real currency, because when Bitcoin rose to over $1,200 a coin or a unit, it actually really put it out of reach of many people and made it impractical as a currency. So we're going to have a lot more coins in circulation, and therefore we'll actually have a lot more liquidity and less volatility as well. Another reason for less volatility will be that we will be marketing our coins initially via a single trading platform stroke exchange designed by Dr. Ruja, as you'll see in a second. And unlike Bitcoin, which uses multiple different public exchanges, and therefore they're all selling it at different prices, so it's very, very volatile. So you can't really use something as a currency where it jumps so much in value up and down on a daily basis. We have a dedicated management team. In other words, Bitcoin, for example, uses an open source model that really anybody can market it, anybody can mine it. The problem with that is there's no one managing the brand. It's like, the lights are on, but no one's at home. We actually have a team dedicated to strategy and attracting merchants. We already have merchants who want to use our coin and building the OneCoin brand. So we have a centralized approach rather than the decentralized approach of Bitcoin. As I said, OneCoin will be mined in mining pools or teams, so that you don't have to invest in heavy computer hardware or equipment. And if your next door neighbor's got a faster laptop than you have, he has no advantage. OneCoin uses the KYC procedure, or Know Your Customer rules, which has really been in place with every bank now since about 13 years. Bitcoin actually prided itself on being anonymous, which attracted some people, but it also attracted a lot of criminals because they thought it was a great opportunity to use it to buy drugs and weapons on the internet, which is why, by the way, the #1 owner of Bitcoins in the market right now worldwide is the FBI, because they actually have confiscated many Bitcoins off criminals. We won't have that problem though, because using KYC or Know Your Customer rules, it means that we're able to know exactly who owns what coin. We have a centralized database, and it means also therefore that different vendors, different merchants and banks and institutions around the world are going to be much, much, much happier to use us and accept us as a real currency, because they know that there's no possibility of money laundering taking place. So who's behind it? I've told you about the company. I've told you about the product. I've told you about the concept of cryptocurrency. But really, what about the brains behind it? Well, the brains behind it is Dr. Ruja Ignatova. Dr. Ruja is the founder of the OneCoin network and the originator of the OneCoin concept. And just a quick biography. It's quite long, so I'm going to go through just the important points in my eyes here. Dr. Ruja, by the way, she's 34 years old, so she's a very, very high achiever. She was born in Sofia in Bulgaria. Now, if you think, 30-odd years ago, Bulgaria was a very poor country, yet she managed to go up to Oxford in England and acquire a master's in law, a master's degree in law from Oxford University. She also has a master's degree in economics from the University of Constance in Germany, and a PhD in European business law from Oxford and Constance. So you can imagine this lady has a huge background and understanding of the law and, of course, of finance. After that, she joined McKinsey & Company, one of the largest and most respected management consultants in the world, becoming one of their youngest partners in Europe. Whilst there, you can see she worked in corporate banking, private equity, asset management, risk management, and so on. And she was also working with major banks and financial institutions like Sberbank in Russia, Allianz, Unicredit, Raiffeisen, and so on. From there, she went on and became the CEO and CFO of a large asset management fund in Bulgaria, managed 250 million euros in assets. This bit intrigues me. I like this here. In 2012, she was awarded Businesswoman of the Year in Bulgaria, her home country, for international business. Now, if you've been involved in network marketing any amount of time, whether it's like me for 29 years or you've just been involved for 29 days, have you ever come across another network marketing company where the owner and founder was awarded Business Person of the Year in their own country? Well, I haven't. If you have, tell me. I do not know any other network marketing company whose founder and owner was Business Person of the Year. That means they are respected and recognized by their peers in the business world as high achievers. Also means higher integrity as well. Now, here's the interesting thing. This coming week, I will be in Sofia in Bulgaria for this year's award ceremonies, because it's actually rumored that she's going to win it again, a second time in 2 years. So that gives me an awful lot of pride, and I think so should it give you pride too. She's also done a lot of consulting with other cryptocurrency companies, and then she actually published 2 books, one in German and one in Chinese. If you're in any doubt about her credentials, here are some of her awards and certificates. You see this one here is a Magister Juris in European and Comparative Law, so that's a Master's in Law from Oxford University and so on. She's got certificates here from Harvard Law School as well. And here are her 2 books in German on law and in Chinese on finances. Here's a little bit about myself. I don't like to talk too much about myself, but it's really important that you know that who I am. Dr. Ruja is the brains behind the company. She's the owner of the networking company, and of course the person who is in control of all the finance and so on, which is as you would like it to be, because you know who better to manage a cryptocurrency and network marketing company than someone with a huge background in banking, finance, and the law. My job, by contrast, is to help develop the network. I'm a network marketing person. That's my background. That's what I've done for the last 29 years. I'm just like you, okay? I started in 1985, as I said. After 5 years in copywriting in London advertising agency, I joined Herbalife. From there, I went on to build other organizations with other companies. I also developed products. I actually created the first skincare line for a company called Enrich International. Many of you now know it as Unicity. I was their VP of training and their VP of their Eon Collections, which was my brand. I rebranded the Elemis range of skin products and helped them relaunch. And I also co-authored a paper with Dr. Lena Bocchietto in a cosmetics industry journal on biotechnology and cosmetics. So I've developed a couple of different skincare lines. I've developed nutritional products. I've also consulted with other network marketing companies to set up their European operations. And in fact, in 2008, the actress Demi Moore contacted me, wanting me to help her develop her own skincare line. But really, the most exciting point for me in my career to date was being appointed president of OneCoin by Dr. Ruja in August this year. And I really see this as the culmination of my career, and I think you will see it as the culmination of yours as well. So that's who we are. That's who's running the business, both the finances and the network. What about the company structure itself? You know, there are many companies that don't tell you who's behind it. Now, for me, that's a red flag. They'll also not even tell you where the company is from or where it's based. Again, another reason not to join. Well, again, I'm telling you tonight, not only have I told you who's behind it, I'm telling you where the company is legally structured, which is in Gibraltar, which is in the southern tip of Spain and a tax-efficient jurisdiction that allows us to sell all over Europe our digital online product without having to charge you VAT, which, as you know, is pretty gruesome in many parts of Europe. I mean, 20–25% is not something you want to be adding on to your costs. Part of our operations, though, and IT is located in Sofia in Bulgaria, where Dr. Ruja is mainly based. We actually have about 35 people in the team so far. We have 2 different IT teams. One builds our website and network marketing, IT and software, and a totally separate team is concentrated on the cryptocurrency. These people are really mathematicians and scientists. Our primary activity is sales and distribution of education products. Now, you might be forgiven for thinking that we actually sell coins or sell currency. We do not. We're not in the coin selling business or currency. We actually have 5 levels of educational program teaching you how to trade and make money with cryptocurrency, all designed by Dr. Ruja. And that is the product that we are selling through the network. And that is the product on which we create the bonuses and pay the commissions. OneCoin Limited, the network marketing company, and its products, the coin itself, have been certified as legal and legitimate by an established law firm. Let me show you the actual letter here. You can download this in your back office. Here it is in Munich. There's our address in Gibraltar. And it says basically exactly what a cryptocurrency is, which is what I suggested to you and told you. It has a finite supply, so therefore it is inflation proof, unlike fiat currencies that you get from your local bank and carry in your pocket. But here's the important sentence. In our opinion, the OneCoin is a legitimate product limited to 2.1 billion. So what they're saying is we are a law firm. In our legal opinion, it's a legitimate product. In other words, we have examined the source code and the algorithm, and we have satisfied ourselves that this is exactly what Dr. Ruja says it is. Now, a German law firm, in my opinion, is not likely to jeopardize or risk its own reputation by falsifying something for a client. So you can be completely satisfied, in my opinion, that when they've looked at our algorithm and our source code and they say it's real, then it's real. They also give a list of all the countries around the world where cryptocurrency, to buy it, to hold it, to trade it, is legal and legitimate. In fact, almost everywhere except Iceland. Now, let's talk about also, here's some of our team, and we'll have some better pictures on this soon. Some IT team going through a briefing and so on. This is our office in Bulgaria. And the OneCoin concept, yes, it is legal in many places. In fact, you can see here it's being reported in the Wall Street Journal. And when a product or service starts being traded in Wall Street, I think you can be satisfied that it is legal and accepted, because obviously the government wants to be able to tax it. In fact, the Winklevoss twins, these 2 gentlemen here, were the early investors in Facebook who made millions. They now have their own Bitcoin trust. This is called a blockchain. You can go to this website. It's called blockchain.info, and this is actually covering Bitcoin. And it shows you here by all these boxes here in green, in real time, all of the coins being mined, all the coins being bought and sold and traded, every single transaction, even down to fractions of a coin. And so this is very, very transparent and almost impossible to fake this. And so when we open our mining, which will start in January, you will see our blockchain giving a complete record of all transactions as they occur. Again, if you're looking at different opportunities, there's a couple of questions you need to ask, because there are many things out there that claim to be similar to OneCoin. First question is, how many coins can you produce? If they can't give you a finite number, it's likely they don't have a real coin. Next question is, where is your blockchain? Can we see your blockchain? If they don't know what it is or are not willing to show it to you, again, it's highly likely they do not have a real cryptocurrency. So, there's certain pointers I'm giving you here on how to spot the real cryptocurrencies from the fakes. So the One Academy, this is our core activity, as I mentioned. We sell training, online training, and you get interactive materials like videos, presentations, and so on. and it's really designed to help you profit from owning and trading cryptocurrency, and it comes in 5 different packages and price points. Now, that's why we pay all the commissions that we do. However, all packages contain some free items. They contain free tokens. Now, these tokens have 2 purposes. One, you can actually sell them and cash out. If you've got a short-term strategy, you want to make some quick money, you can sell your tokens because other members are quite happy to buy them. Why? Because the tokens are actually the keys to the mining pools. The more tokens you've got, the more slots you can have to mine the OneCoin. So that's the real purpose of the tokens, to mine the OneCoin. So your job is to acquire as many tokens as you can, because that's the only way anyone can mine the OneCoin. So we're not a token trading game like some of you may have seen. We're actually, the tokens here have the real purpose of helping you mine the OneCoin itself. So what can I do with my tokens? Yes, you can actually sell them to other members, cash out if you wish, or actually when you buy when you can keep the tokens and your portfolio will split. All packages will split 1 time. Those who are holding a Tycoon package, it will split 2 times. So if you have, the first split, by the way, will come just before we start mining. Simon there, I see you calling in from Vietnam. Yes, all your tokens, whether they are from your mandatory account or from your packages, at the time of the split, they will split. Okay, so if your account is due to split, all your tokens will split regardless of where they come from. So it'll double the quantity of tokens you have on hand. But so the third thing, as I said, is you keep the tokens and join the mining pools. You will see shortly, I hope, that joining the mining pool is the real key to this business. That's the end game. So here's our trading platform, as a screenshot of it showing, how the tokens are bought and sold. By the way, we started trading the tokens about 3 weeks ago at around 10 cents. That's euro cents. They're now up at around 15 cents. So if you sold all of the tokens you had, you would make more money than it cost you to buy your package. So if you've got a short-term strategy, the good news is you've really got no risk. And that's exciting for you. If you're building a team, you can actually encourage people to get involved because it's a risk-free business. So OneCoin is the future. Yes, it is innovative, it is secure, and it is real. It will be 100% mined by members, so the profit stays in your hands. And of course, we'll be using pools of miners, so you don't need expensive hardware. That real-time mining is the blockchain that can be watched by all members. So again, you can't fake that kind of stuff. And here's the point. In the beginning, the difficulty of mining, or the mining is not difficult. It's easy in the beginning. Therefore, the mining price is low and the cost is low. Over time, the difficulty increases, the cost increases, and the cost of the value of the coins increases. So getting in early is really what you need to do. And as I said, they will be traded on a public exchange. Now, very quickly, let's talk about our bonus plan. Now, remember I said we have 2 opportunities. Well, I've talked to you very briefly about the OneCoin itself, which is the capital growth. Now let me talk to you about the network marketing side of the opportunity, which is how we pay commissions and bonuses on the sales of the education packages. As you see here, we have 5 packages, starting from starter through trader, pro trader, executive trader, and tycoon trader is our top package. Now, I'm going to be talking to you in a second about Tycoon Trader, and I'm going to want you to pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. But as you can see, each one gets a successively higher level or greater degree of online training for their money. The Tycoon Trader package costs 5,000 euros, but you get well over 5,000 euros worth of value in your training. Of course, you're getting trained personally by Dr. Ruja Ignatovo, who's got 2 master's degrees and a PhD. So it's a pretty good online financial training. You'll notice here as a networker that the BV or bonus value is equivalent to the euro. So it's a 1-to-1 or 100% BV. We're not one of those companies that charges you, 100 euros and says, well, we'll only pay BV on 60. No, if we charge you 100 on the BV of 100. Now, here's the important thing here, though. So this is what you pay for. These things to the right of this line here are what you get free, the One tokens and the Aurum Gold coins. I haven't got time to cover the Aurum Gold coins yet. tonight. So as you can see, with each package, you get a certain number of tokens, but it's very easy to see that the top package, Tycoon, has the best return on investment because you get the most number of tokens for the money. So I want you to bear in mind these numbers as I'm going to go through the next example. Number one, Tycoon package. This splits 2 times. All the other packages can only split 1 time. The next split will come just before we start mining in January, by the way, January 20th. The split will come before that. So 5,000 euros, and you get 60,000 tokens. Now, I'm going to show you in a second some numbers. So if you've got a pen and paper, I'd take this down. You buy a package for 5,000 euros. You get 60,000 tokens. If you wait until your package splits the first, now you can sell all those 60,000 tokens, as I just said. Right now, the tokens are trading at 15 cents, euro cents. So 60,000 tokens times 15 cents is what? Is that around 9,000 euros? So again, if you sold all your tokens and cashed out, you would make more money than it cost you to buy the package. So there's your risk, no risk. However, the sensible people will not sell their tokens. They will hold on to them and let them split. So let's suppose you buy a package today, you've got 60,000 tokens. Early January or end of December, they will split and you will now have 120,000 tokens. Should you sell them? No, don't sell them. My opinion, my advice, wait again. Another 90 days, they will split a second time because you've got a Tycoon package, giving you 240,000 tokens. Should you sell them? No, because what you need to do then is invest them in the OneCoin mining pool. Because you see, when we start mining coins in January, they will start trading with a value of 50 cents, and that's half a euro. Okay, and to join a mining pool, you need 500 tokens, and you will get 5. For every 5 tokens, you will get one OneCoin, because the token started at 10 cents and the OneCoin is starting at 50 cents. Okay, so in euro cents, half a euro. So let's look at your 240,000 tokens that you've got after 2 splits, and that doesn't even include any that you've earned from your bonuses or mandatory account and so on. 240,000 tokens. Divide by 5 to give you the amount of coins you can generate. That's 48,000 OneCoins. At a starting value of half a euro, 48,000 is 24,000 euros. Now, what did you start with? A 5,000 euro package. What did you have less than 6 months from now? 24,000 euros worth of value. Now, do you think with all the growth in the miners around the world, we're already at over 8,500 and we're still in pre-launch. Do you think with all the growth of the miners around the world pushing the mining, the price, do you think it'll stay at half a euro? Or do you think it could possibly go to 1 euro? Well, actually, if it goes to 1 euro, you've now got a 48,000 euro return for a 5,000 euro purchase. Over the course of the first year, in fact, the estimate based upon Dr. Rouge's own financial models is that this will, the OneCoin itself will rise in value on the low side to 2.50 euros, on the high side possibly to 5 euros or more. So let's suppose it goes to 5 euros from 50 cents. That's a 10-fold increase. So your 24,000 euro value will increase to 240,000 euros if you have some patience and restraint. Okay, I don't have that strategy on the slides, Simon. That's why I'm actually speaking about it and explaining it here. I need to make up a slide to actually show that. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So let's go on to the compensation plan. Very quickly, direct sales bonus on all personal generated sales. In other words, when you sponsor someone and they buy an education package, regardless of which one they buy and regardless of which one you own, you make 10%. So if you sponsor me and I buy a Tycoon package, which of course now I'm definitely going to do because it's the best value for money and the best return on investment, I buy a package for 5,000 euros, you make 10% or 500 euros direct sales bonus. Not only that, if I was in your weaker leg, it's a weak leg binary with no qualification, no monthly maintenance. So in other words, you get paid straight away on all sales in your weaker leg, 10% every week. And if I buy a Tycoon package and I happen to be in your weaker leg, you make 10% on that as well, which is 500 euros just in the binary or network bonus. Third area of income, third bonus is called a matching bonus. Very simple. I've seen lots of matching bonuses over the years, and sometimes they look really good, but they're actually really complicated until you start looking at them and you realize, actually, it's too hard to achieve some of these things. Well, actually, we've got the simplest matching bonus I've ever seen. Number one, you only have to have one sale on your left and one on your right of a trader package, which is 500 euros, to be permanently qualified for matching bonus. Which matching bonus you get really depends on which package you have. The Tycoon, as you see here, again, most value for money, you get paid 4 generations, providing you're qualified with one sale on the left and one on the right. And 4 generations of matching bonus at 10%, 10%, 20, and 25%. I'm going to show you right now how that 25% really mounts up. So I've made a quick example here based on 2 assumptions. One assumption is that the average person in your team is earning 100 euros a week network bonus, and you're qualified with a trader sale either side. So imagine you build a very simple, basic organization where you find 2 people, they go out and find 2, they go out and find 2, and so on through 4 generations. Even on that simple group, if you're a Tycoon trader, your matching bonus would be 620 euros per week. Okay? But in fact, that's below average. The average in this industry is people sponsor somewhere between 2 and 3. So let's suppose you do 50% more work and encourage them to do 50% more work. So you find 3, help them find 3, and so on through 4 generations. Now your matching bonus as a Tycoon has jumped to 2,785 euros per week. And by the way, even in pre-launch, we already have people making more than this in matching bonus. Okay? So this is already happening. Of course, all the others still get more matching bonus, but it's really that 4th generation that makes all the difference. Now, you're not average. You are leaders. The fact that you're on this call tonight, the fact that you're part of us right at the beginning means you're a leader. A leader, in my view, will do more than the average. Let's suppose you go out and find 5 good people, help them find 5, and so on through 4 generations. Look at your matching bonus now as a Tycoon trader, 18,000 euros a week just in matching bonus. That excludes any other area of income. That's just your matching bonus. Now you may say, well, Nigel, it takes me, it could take me 6 months, it could take me a year, it could take me a year and a half to build an organization and find that number of good people. My answer to you is, so what? What else are you going to do with your time? How long has it taken you so far in your life to get where you are now? And are you making 18,000 euros a week already in matching bonus? If the answer is no, my question to you is, why aren't you just getting on with it? Startup bonus. In your first 30 days, you actually get an additional 10% on all your direct sales, as long as you make sales of more than 5,500. That's 1 Tycoon and 1 trader package. You'll get a further 10%. So that's 10% direct sales bonus, plus a further 10% startup bonus. If they happen to be in your weaker leg, that's a further 10% network bonus. See how this starts to add up. We've just launched our recognition and rewards program on the beginning of November. I'm not going to go into huge detail on this tonight, but this is how you'll be recognized at events. And by the way, our first major corporate event happens on January the 20th in Hong Kong. Okay, which is where we are going to do the mining launch extravaganza. It is on that day in Hong Kong when we will mine the very first OneCoins on a huge screen. It will be relayed live around the world on your websites and so on. But the people who are going to be coming and attending that event on January the 20th are going to be part of the mining of the very first OneCoin. They're going to be huge prizes, huge giveaways, raffles, all sorts of surprises. I don't want to spoil it for you right now. You need to do whatever you can to be at our mining launch extravaganza on January the 20th in Hong Kong. And we're going to help you. You can go there by your own devices, no problem. But if you want to have the company pay for your hotel and VIP dinner, all you need to do is sell 10,000 points worth of packages before December the 20th. That's like 2 tycoon sales. If you sell a further 10,000 points in packages by January the 20th, by the date of the convention, the extravaganza, we will actually refund and reimburse you up to 800 euros for your flights as well. So not only can you get the company to pay for your hotel accommodation in Hong Kong and VIP dinner with Dr. Ruja and myself and top leaders, you can even get your flights reimbursed as well if you go out and make some sales over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, now can you make some sales? Absolutely. I've just shown you very quickly the kind of numbers that and returns you can get. We've got extra bonuses, extra incentives here that when you hit certain targets, you can get things like iPhone 6s, MacBook Air, a diamond trip, which is basically the holiday of a lifetime, somewhere like the Maldives or maybe Monte Carlo and so on. Rolexes, gold Rolexes, but the crown of the rewards here, known as the Crown Diamond position, where you get a diamond ring and 500,000 euros worth of Aurum gold coins. By the way, we already have a couple of members who are at the blue diamond level, and we're still in pre-launch. One Life points bonus. I'm not going to go into this tonight, but this is our additional rewards program, which is just like a loyalty card. This is a thank you for joining. Everyone who joins the company after you join adds to your One Life points bonus in your back office, and you're going to be able to trade those points in for luxury watches and other exclusive rewards. That's how the points accumulate in your back office on a daily basis. The Aurum Gold coins, I said I wouldn't really talk about that this evening, but basically this is another freebie. We give you this when you join the company. I call it a gift with purchase, a bit like when someone goes to the cosmetics counter in a department store and buys some cosmetics and perfumes and whatever. They might give you a free lipstick or a free eyeliner or something. Well, really, when you buy a package from us, an education package, not only do you get free tokens, free One Life points, you also get some free Aurum Gold coins, which is a partner company of ours that is a hybrid cryptocurrency that backs up all its coins with real gold. So again, just a thank you for joining. Those are the amount of coins you get in each package. So where will one coin be in 1 year? This is what I was talking about earlier. This is the estimates we have. It will start trading from January at €0.5. On the low side, it could rise to €2.50 or as much as €5. But let's have a look. If you're willing to show some more restraint and patience, where will it be in 3 years? It could go as high as 50 to 100 euros. Now, imagine, I gave you an example where you start with 48,000 coins. You may say, well, how can I get 48,000 coins? Well, actually, in the beginning, when we start mining them, we'll be mining as many as 60,000 coins an hour. Remember, as I said, the mining difficulty in the beginning is low. It's easy. We'll be mining a lot of coins. And by the way, we have 2.1 billion coins to find. So getting your share, your 48,000, shouldn't be that difficult. But let's suppose you only start with 10,000, which is almost a fifth of that, 20%, almost 20% of that. Those 10,000 coins, if those reach 100 euros in value, you don't have to be a mathematical genius to realize that those 10,000 coins are going to become 1 million euros in value. So 48,000 coins is going to become what? 4.8 million euros in value. You will be tempted to sell early. And many people will sell a few just to cash in and test us along the way. You can do whatever you want. You're entitled to do whatever you want. But my point is this. As you grow, as we grow as a company around the world, as the value grows in the business, the coins will grow in value. The longer you can hold on and wait for them to rise in value, the more money you will make. When I started in this industry, one of my mentors taught me, he said, 2 things will destroy you in network marketing: greed and impatience. Well, he was so right. If you're greedy or you're impatient, you're not going to make the big rewards here as you would by being really patient and not being greedy. You hold on, show some restraint, you're going to make an absolute fortune. Now, I'm going to wrap up very quickly because I'm running out of time here, but here's just a couple of slides I want to go through. Number one, this is, yes, we'll be having this in the back office. I need to tweak it very slightly. The short-term strategy, this is if you want to sell all your tokens at the market price within, say, 4 to 5 months, you cash out quickly, you would still, as a tycoon, make between 31 and 45 pro trader, which costs you 1,000, will make between 2 and 3,000 euros. The long-term strategy, in my view, is the best. You're looking at between 12 and 24 months. You don't sell your tokens. You actually get all the tokens. You buy as many tokens as you can in a mandatory account from other people who do want to sell. By the way, that's why I know that there'll never be a problem selling your tokens, because there'll always be plenty of buyers who want them, because you can then invest them in pools and get as many of the one coins as possible. Those investments will huge dividends, because as a tycoon, you will be ending up somewhere between 235 and 435,000 euros return. The balance strategy is basically where you sell some tokens to recover your initial costs and invest the rest in mining. So it's what's known as playing with the house money. You know, you've covered your exposure and you're reinvesting money that really didn't come out of your pocket in the first place, and you would still make over 200,000 euros return. How do we create value for our members? Here's a good question, because people need to understand this. Well, in the beginning, you have what's known as speculation, which means you buy and sell and make a bit of money, and people love that, especially in network marketing. And that's why we have the tokens in the beginning, because some people, frankly, that's all they want to do. They have a short-term strategy. They want to buy a few tokens, sell a few tokens, and cash out. They don't really see a lot more than that. The ones who have the patience is what I was talking about here, where we create the value store, okay, where the coin is increasing in value over a period of time. And the third area, which really pulls it all together, is known as utility. Now, what does utility mean? And you can see utility starts a bit later than the other. The other two start at the beginning. Utility starts maybe a year and a half from now. Utility is we give you ways to utilize the coin. In other words, you can spend it, you can trade it. We find outlets and merchants who are willing to take it and accept it, and vendors who are willing to accept it as a currency. And that utility actually makes the value store and the speculation, it gives them credence and value, because without utility, there is no value store. And there could be speculation. You get speculation in money games. You get speculation in some of these Ponzi schemes. The sad thing is, what happens is some people make a lot of money and everyone else loses. We all know some of these famous companies that have basically run off with people's money recently. But when we have utility, then the speculation and the value store actually mean something, because you've got a real product that can be sold and used in the outside world. Everyone from the trader package upwards gets a free MasterCard, a debit card to receive commissions and bonuses. Of course, you can also receive your commissions into your bank account. And of course, the other way is to sell, create and sell gift codes and for cash, and people can give you cash that way. You'll be able to sign up for your MasterCard probably in the next 2 weeks. We'll be taking registrations and shipping them out early January. So what shall I do next? Well, the answer is join. If you haven't joined, go to your sponsor's website and join. Just get started. Don't hesitate and don't delay. Very quick question, Yari, does the split when the barometer is 100%? I think that's a fair estimate, that the barometer is showing you how close we are to a split. Absolutely. Remember this, all packages will split 1 time. The Tycoon Traders package will split 2 times. All tokens you have in your account, both the ones you got from your package and any that you've purchased through your earnings and the mandatory account, all tokens will split and double in quantity when your package splits. So this is a very, you cannot be looking at anything at a more exciting time than this. Whenabouts in time will the second split be done? We can't tell you that exactly. Of course, it depends how quickly the growth and the market heats up, but it's likely somewhere 8 to 12 weeks later, Rolf. Okay. I can take one or two quick questions before I wrap this up, because if I go over the hour, I won't be able to take the recording onto YouTube, which I will be doing later on. Okay. So is that all the questions for tonight? All right. Thank you so much for attending our weekly webinar. What I forgot to tell you, by the way, is in fact, you could see him on here. Fernando is our Chinese manager. He runs our Hong Kong office. We will be moving in to our Hong Kong office, our first office in Asia, on December the 16th. Obviously, everyone will be welcome. The Hong Kong office will be a distributor office. In other words, it will be the kind of place where you will be able to bring people, bring prospects, show them things, show them the back office, introduce them. We'll do some training there and so on. So it really will be a hub of activity for the Chinese and Asian markets. So you're always all welcome to join us in our Hong Kong office starting in middle of December. How does the company make the OneCoin available in shops, etc.? Okay, I'll answer this question very quickly before I cut off. Once we go public with the coin and we have different vendors, which we already have, by the way, several wanting to use us, and it becomes acceptable as a currency, probably initially on the internet, it will be the natural transition to that will be able to be finding other vendors who will want to use it. One of the other goals down the line is to develop up a MasterCard which you will be able to spend your OneCoins directly from your encrypted e-wallet. So it will be, how shall I say, converted on the fly to the kind of money that you would use in your own country. Okay, I hope that answers that. When will the first split will be? I won't tell you that. I can't tell you that. All I can tell you is it will come before we start mining. So it could come anytime in the next, say, 6 weeks, okay? Because we start mining at the mining extravaganza on January the 20th, okay? Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap up the call this evening. It's been great having you all on, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as possible in person at our different events around the world. And I'll be traveling to Bulgaria this week to the award ceremony for Dr. Ruja for the Businesswoman of the Year. But I look forward to meeting you in your own countries, whether it's Sweden or Norway or Finland. We were in Finland a couple of months ago, or Hong Kong, or anywhere in Asia. And I look forward to getting to knowing many of you personally, because guess what? I want everyone to make a lot of money and enjoy the fruits of that, because really, life is all about experiences, and I want you all to have the best experiences. Thank you and good night.